Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Trade Talks Live. We are coming to you from, sunny, beautiful southern Utah. We're actually in Hurricane, Utah, just outside of St. George. If you've never been here before, welcome to the show. We do this every day at 10 o'clock Central Standard Time, and we do this for you. We love what we get to do. We get to have fun. Those of you that have never been here before, this is literally, it's a variety show. We talk about a lot of different things. We're working on sponsors that we're going to bring in that can come in and talk about what's going on in the world today, different stuff to help us grow too. We always tell people that don't stop learning. So if you're in the trades and you want to be in the top 5% of your industry, get up every morning, study for 30 minutes to an hour, and you will learn things that will help you move up, learn, and grow. So that's what we put this together for. If you have been here before, we have no idea why you keep coming back, but God, we are glad that you're here. Squirt, how are you doing this morning?
Hey, I'm doing great this morning. Happy Friday, everybody. I know we are headed into the weekend. You don't get to see us for the next couple days, but there's plenty of replays out there. I'm Henry Wakefield, aka Squirt, and Randy. You'll hear them all, and then a few more, I'm sure. Um, but I'm the CEO of Leak Pro now. I was a 20-year plumber, pipe fitter, welder in the union, and my whole family was plumbers. So I love getting in here and being able to talk trades. And we do want to thank Leak Pro for sponsoring today's episode of the Trade Talks, where we get to come in here and talk trades for an hour. National news, safety, bottom line, new tools, new equipment, new materials. We talk about a little bit of everything, guys. So tune in, check out the show, and enjoy. Leak Pro does build the most precise leak detection equipment for professional plumbers. They build two different pieces of equipment. We've got the Probe, which is that meter to the home service. It's got a stainless rod, real durable for pushing in and out of the ground. And then when you go into that home, listening through a slab or the driveway, you want to switch to that Sidekick. It's got an aluminum rod that kind of eliminates that layer of concrete. If you want to check out our equipment, you can visit www.leak-pro.com. Also, I do a 2-day in-person training. And if you want to talk about that, give me a call at 1-8888-LEAK-PRO, and we can discuss how you can add leak detection to your list of services.
Okay, so number one, I love what we get to do. We get to have fun. I'm trying to position my camera and get everything right here. We get to have fun, but we get to talk about the trades each and every day. But one of the favorite things that I think that we get to do is bring people out to the outhouse. We've got a almost 10 acre facility outside of Dallas. It's Rogers Outhouse. And that is where the training center is for Leak Pro. And we're we're actually in Southern Utah here, working on some cool stuff that we're going to do there. And I'm really excited about it. And we may talk more about that here in a little bit. But before I do, I want to give a shout out here. Mr. Miyagi of Plumbing and Squirt. What is up, brothers? Matt McDonald, great seeing you the other day, hanging out with you at El Segundo Sol in Las Vegas. He says, go Leak Pro, and happy Friday. So yes,
Friday,
indeed. So let's start off talking about the national news, because, and we do this all the time, because, guys, the national news affects every one of us. And Texas was fighting for their license a few years back, and we had plumbers from around the country come in because they understand that if Texas can lose a plumbing license, any other state can too. So it really was a big deal. But man, this is a good one today because there's been a lot of talk about it, especially here at the meeting, right? Because we're with some fantastic YouTubers here. But the national news says President announces 25% tariffs on all foreign-made cars. So your $2 million Lamborghini is now $2.5 million. That's just, look, that's simple math. I'm a plumber. It was quick and easy. But I mean, can you imagine the prices going up 25% on something like that? What Trump is trying to tell you is buy American. It makes sense. Go ahead, Squirt.
Well, I was going to say, in buy American, yes. If you do want to buy domestic, you want that Lamborghini, guys, guess what? You've got 5 days to do it. Okay. 'Cause
Buy y'all stuff today.
this goes into effect April the 2nd. So every foreign car right now is 25% off, guys. And
Man,
it's pretty crazy. Like, this is going to change thing, and we look at automotive, that's a trade, guys. We build. And it's what this is going to end up doing. It's going to end up creating more work here for American made vehicles because a lot of people are going to want to avoid that 25% markup.
okay, so you know why he didn't do that the day before? He didn't want everybody to think it was a joke. April 1st, April Fool's Day, gotcha.
Yeah.
So anyway, no, he's doing some neat stuff. But he announced it 25%. He announced that on March 26th, which I think is great. Now, here's the scope though. The tariffs apply to imported passenger vehicles, including sedans, SUVs, crossovers, minivans, cargo vans, and light trucks. Now, you know what? You know what I don't see in there is sports cars. Or are they calling that passenger cars? It holds passengers.
It is a passenger vehicle.
It is. Okay, key automotive parts such as engines, transmissions, powertrain components, and electrical parts are also affected. So if you already have one of these and you don't want to pay 25% more for all the parts for your future repairs, like if you've got one that you're like, I know I need an engine soon, you better hurry because that $20,000 engine is now $25,000.
Yep.
It goes up quick. Everything. So economic impact, the administration projects that these tariffs will generate approximately $100 billion annually. Wow. However, critics argue that the increased costs may be passed on to consumers, potentially raising car prices by up to $12,500. Guys, they're going to be passed on. If I'm a plumber and you tell me my water heater costs 25% more, I'm not saying, well, we're just going to lose 25% more money on this job. It doesn't happen that way. Randy, what do you think?
You look at this is just like material escalations to me on a project. It got enforced, it happened. Well, guess what, guys? If I wasn't locked in on that pricing or locked in on that purchase already, then I'm going to have to pay it. And guess what? That's going to go to my customer. Business shouldn't lose that. Like they're saying, oh, it potentially could go to the consumer. It's going to go to the consumer. We are going to end up paying more for imported items. That's why, as consumers, we're going to have to think about domestic a little more as an option and try to figure out if it's an equal or not.
No, Randy, let me ask you this because this is something that crossed my mind. You talk about when you're bidding projects and stuff like that, you'll lock in your pricing. So say somebody went down and put, 50 grand down on the Lambo. And they're saying, look, it's going to cost me 500 grand. I put my 50%, I made my 10% down. There's my 50 grand. It's supposed to be delivered 2 months from now. Is their price locked in? Or does the dealer call and say, hey, sorry, but that price went up?
So honestly, like if it's not getting shipped, they're going to have to pay that when it comes into the country, not just based on now. So you could incur that upcharge. Honestly, like I'd have to read the fine print of the contracts here because it just kind of depends. Like a lot of ours, when you'd write a contract, look, this is good for X amount of days. There's a limit to that contract. So you would probably have to read the fine print there. I feel like with a down payment, though, also that is locking you into that deal. That means you signed a contract probably. So the date on that contract will probably uphold here to where you may be able to avoid that. I'm not for certain though. I'm definitely not a tariff expert yet.
Okay, so let's move over into website reviews, and you picked one, Pro Tradecraft, and I've heard of Pro Tradecraft. I think I've seen them have a booth. It's one of the conferences somewhere. Tell me why you picked this one.
It's been around for years. Is what I've noticed. But honestly, it's just a real simple to follow layout. They've got video tutorials, step-by-step guides, different things like that. You want to learn framing, you want to learn how to frame a floor, you want to learn some HVAC stuff. There's guides and stuff all throughout this site, and it's a very simple to follow layout. But then also they do some YouTube spotlights and suggestions and things like that. And I like a lot of these sites that lean into that social media side, trying to show off things that we try to do on a normal basis, but it's a benefit to other tradespeople. And like, I just love sites that are that way, that it gathers all the information like we try to do here on our channels.
I am trying to see if there's any way that I can pull it up, but go ahead. Go ahead.
So there's some how-to articles and videos. There's detailed guides on various aspects of construction, from insulation techniques to air sealing methods. For instance, their piece on air sealing, a dropped soffit provides actionable steps for tight soffits. So if you're a framer or things like this, there's some really good things to go in here and watch. There's different stuff for stairs, stuff like that, frameworks, rafters. I saw a bunch of different guides in there. Also, they do some tool reviews, in-depth evaluations of tools and equipment, assisting professionals in making informed purchasing decisions. And I like a lot of these sites that aren't just tied to one manufacturer, because then you kind of get to see a variety of everything that's out there. But at the same time, I understand whenever you are committed to a brand, because we're kind of used to that. And but it's good to know other things that are out there also that could help you. They also have some podcasts on there that you can listen to. And then they also have an active presence on platforms like YouTube and Facebook that creates this community where tradespeople can share insights and experiences. And that's something we're about to get into on this channel, is getting a good community started to where we can go in and talk to each other about trades and different things, job opportunities, stuff like that. So I like a lot of sites that are like this.
Okay, so man, I was able to do this. So I don't know how I did it, but here you go, right here. I like this. I love that they've got the links to their YouTube videos, how to detail the bottom of a furring strip ring screen, smart clamp storage in a wood shop. I love the external there, ring screens, do's and don'ts, building science, advisor tool at the International IBS. So I knew that I've seen them somewhere. Yeah, this is a pretty good site. You get their videos, YouTube's animations, showing you how to do things, podcast, and building resilient show. Yeah, they've got a lot of good stuff going on here. Very nice. So, oops, there we go. All right, so websites, just look, we bring them up so that y'all see different things that are out there. We talk all the time about continuously learning, and websites like this are where you can go, you can learn, you can grow. And if you're doing stuff like that, it's wonderful. But talking about growth, let's talk about business growth. Investing in employee training for advanced technologies. And we talk about this two different ways. If you're a technician, are you investing in yourself to grow? And if you're a business, are you investing in your employees so they grow and help your company grow? Because if not, it's a problem. You agree?
I do. Like a lot of times whenever you talk about a team, it's like, look, a team's only as strong as the weakest link. Well, guess what? Train all of your employees, all of your techs to be able to use these new technologies that are coming out, because it's only going to make your team stronger. It's going to bring that weakest link along too. Because like for me, back whenever I was an apprentice, I was starving for knowledge. So new things would come out and it's like, oh, let me learn that. Don't sun them out because they're just a dumb apprentice. No, they're not. They are there learning the trade, and especially whenever you get a hungry one, teach them the new stuff that are coming out.
Talking about hungry ones, John Trammell. I had little John when he was in the Connex. He signed up to be an apprentice, and we were doing EM squared, E squared, the second emergency room out at Medical City, Dallas. And literally he's like, man, look, I want to learn. I want to learn to draw. I want to learn to do AutoCAD and things like that. And he said, I don't want to be out here in the field. And I'm like, you know what? Let's talk to the office. And the office is like, yeah, we're not paying anybody to go do that. And I was just like, look, y'all just pay for his education. Trust me, they've paid for it time and time again now. But this kid, and I call him a kid, he's about your age, maybe a little younger, but this kid just has the desire to learn and be the best. And he has learned and grown. And one of the key areas for training you talk about is BIM, building information modeling. And he owns it. I mean, the product manufacturers that he used ask him to come in and talk to them about what they can do better. So when you're doing something like that, but BIM modeling enhances the collaboration and reduces errors in project planning. Guys, if you can save time with one man working in a computer in an office 6 months before the job starts, compared to waiting until the plumber, the electrician, the HVAC tech, and when I say the plumber, the electrician, and HVAC tech, I mean 3 or 4 of each of them are standing there looking up in the ceiling saying, hey, this ain't going to work. That gets really freaking expensive. Another good training is drone training, utilized for site inspection, surveying, and progress. Imagine just having a drone fly through a job site once a week to see what kind of progress was made. That could be so freaking cool. And then AR, and we talk about that all the time. You love the AR. I really want to learn to play with it, but assist in visualizing projects before construction begins, aiding in design and modification, which is all great. But Randy, what are the benefits to training people to do all this?
Honestly, it's going to improve efficiency. What's the big thing that we always talk about is labor. Labor is the biggest cost in most projects. The material, it's what the material is. Depending on what you have to use or you're limited to, you're going to be able to get a little bit of better cost there. But the key here is making your labor as efficient as you possibly can. And this is what teaching the new things is going to do. It's going to make you more efficient. You're not standing around a job site trying to figure out who's going to go where, who's going to move, things like that. That's done on the front end. Also, this is going to make your employees a lot happier because the more we learn, the happier we are as humans. Like, it just feeds the brain, it fuels the fire, and it's also going to keep your people there. Because anywhere that you can keep learning more and more, you want to stay at. That's why I keep dealing with this guy. I just keep learning all these new things, but I don't want to go nowhere because I am learning so much. And now we're stepping into new worlds, and I'm learning all sorts of crazy stuff like AI and robots and stuff. It's been interesting.
I know. All right, so let's roll into service work, because you want to talk about integrating smart glasses and remote support.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you know what these are. These are my Meta glasses, and I can literally just press the button. You see the little bitty light right there? I know y'all can see it. That means I'm recording y'all. And we can wear these in conferences. We can wear these on a job site. We can wear these actually while I'm rebuilding a toilet or rebuilding a shower valve or anything like that. But Randy, you're seeing a different way to use them in construction.
Man, so and this crossed my mind back whenever I'd first heard about something. There's a service, they use those to assist blind people sometimes. If there's something that they get to, they can actually call somebody that can look through their glasses and look at exactly what they're not seeing because they're blind, but at what's in front of them, and they can read, they can tell them exactly what to touch, where to touch, things like that. Well, guys, that plays right into service work. How many times have we been stuck in that situation where it's like, oh, send me a picture of that? Or, man, I can't really explain what I'm looking at. Guys, throw on these glasses and then turn on the video and let them see what you're looking at. Now, we could do this with phones and things, but Glasses are hands-free, so smart glasses for some remote support just to help your guys out in the field. Like you had how many different plumbers under you? Occasionally they'd call with a question or run into a situation. Well, hey, they don't always have to look up a YouTube video. They can go, hey, here, boss, look at what I'm looking at. What should I do here? And you can kind of run them through and help them troubleshoot that. So that type of remote assistance, I think, is big. The other good thing is other people in the office that are helping and watching can be learning how to work through these processes also. So it's kind of a training experience and opportunity also for more people to learn.
So good. And the good thing is the training, the documentation. I mean, think about it. When I put those glasses on, when I'm doing something, it records everything. And now the problem with the Meta glasses, it only goes 3 minutes at a time, right? Is
It started at 1,
minutes?
now we're
Yeah.
up to 3.
Okay. So
it's cruising.
hopefully, hopefully we can get it up there. But if I'm working on, I got asked the other day about a big emergency that I've been part of on a job, and a house burned down. And we got to go in with the fire inspector, the insurance company, and of course we had changed out a water heater. So they're automatically saying, look, we know this is your fault. And it's like, guys, look, we did everything right. We inspected it. We did everything. As soon as I walked in the house, I'm looking around and I can see, look, this isn't where the hottest part of the fire was. This fire was way over here. And after about 10 minutes in the house, they told me the same thing. But I stayed there for about 2 hours. I wanted to go through the whole inspection and see how they did it. And it was crazy. But one thing, looking at you on the documentation, that would have been great to have on a GoPro, glasses, anything like this, and just document it and say, look, we tested it. We've done this. We've done this. We've done this. Then you get the visual of, look, we really did what we were supposed to do. So, man, that's crazy. But let's roll over into materials, equipment, and tools. Smart tools with app connectability. Now,
That's
this
it.
I haven't heard of yet.
Hey, the integration of app connectivity in the tools, it's revolutionizing construction workflows. It offers enhanced precision and data management. And we're always talking about data. Data is so important. We love to learn. AI loves data, and that's how it helps us as a tool. Uh, but think of stuff like a digital torque wrench, okay? That allows for precise torque application with data logging capabilities. So if you're in automotive, there's so many different bolts and stuff that have to be done to different torques. What if you're just selecting it in your app, which one you were doing, and it logged it? Boom, all these bolts are talking. We were talking with a mechanic the other day where he had one that there was a couple bolts that he missed on a couple different installs.
No, not him. One of his employees.
Correct. It was
Yes,
one of his
yes.
guys. But the guy had missed a couple bolts and he ended up having to get rid of them. Well, if there was a digital torque wrench checklisting all the bolts that he pulled as he pulled them and logged them, he'd be able to know that and be able to go, oh wait, I need to hit these last few bolts because they're not off my list yet. Also connected laser measures enable measurements to be sent directly to project management apps, reducing manual entry errors. This is really good for like a buddy of mine. He's in that division 10. You've got to wait till all the tiles and everything are done in these bathrooms so that they can go through and actually measure the partitions out.
Yep.
This can directly feed straight to the manufacturer that's cutting them and getting everything ready and sending it over. So everything actually is precise when it hits that job. And there's not a bunch of alterations needed on site. Smart levels provide digital readings and they can store measurements for future reference. I was starting to use some of these sometimes for digital angle degree finders because there were times I'd have to put a nipple out on 5-degree angle for this specific instrument, things like that. So it's really cool. And it benefits a lot because it's going to increase your accuracy. It's got that data collection. And also, you can integrate it with a bunch of other platforms out there. You can sync it like Procore, Fieldwire, and Milwaukee One Key, letting teams
Yeah, you
share
gotta love
data.
that one.
That's it. And that's just letting teams share data instantly between themselves. Uh, and like this is everything's headed the right way. We always talk about all these smart things in the home. Now we're getting smarter tools that connect to our apps so that we can actually track some of that data and follow the things that we're doing.
Man, it's crazy because this is just there's some neat stuff out there, and it keeps becoming more prevalent. It's everywhere, and the digital torque wrench. I'm tell you right now, I want to order one of those because of the fun we've been having with toilets. Okay, but not just toilets, waxes, all kinds of different things. So there's a lot that we can do and play with it. I want to jump into some questions real quick. Can't pay attention says, good morning, y'all.
Morning.
Jared Oravec says, don't abuse your workers, overwork them. Don't abuse your workers, overwork them. Wage theft is a real thing. Well, if you're an employer, don't work hours you're not getting paid for, anything like that, if that's what you're talking about. Matt says, like Grandpa said, we're a sponge till we die. We should be. But Matt, man, there's a lot of tradespeople that aren't. They're just like, look, I'm just a tool. Pull me out when you need me. Let me do my thing and then put me back up. And that blows my mind. Jared says boiler. I'm assuming that means Lochinvar maybe. Be careful of bolts to change seal. Be gentle. They will snap and you're messed up. Yes, you are. Can't pay attention says all the upgrades and advancements. Let's upgrade porta potties to mobile bathroom trailers.
I love that.
Guys out in the field would love that a lot.
GCs, start putting that in your bids, please.
And he says the ones with AC and heat. Yes. And I like this. Matt says I use a 1/4 inch electric ratchet for toilets. I used a 1/4 inch ratchet the other day. I was at AutoZone trying to change out the battery on my truck. And the guy had one of those, the battery powered ratchet. But I'm telling you, man, it was neat. And he kept saying, it's not going to get it super tight. So I don't need it to. Yep. Man, if it can get it ran in to where then I can tighten it up, it's amazing. So I do. We need to get on the Milwaukee website and find me a new tool. I'm just saying.
Imagine that.
Words I've never said before.
Speaking of new tools,
let's hear it.
We do want to thank Leak Pro for sponsoring today's episode of the Trade Talks, where they build the most precise leak detection system for professional plumbers. They make 2 different tools, one being the Probe. That's a T-handle style, guys. It's got a stainless steel rod on that. That's for that meter to the home service, irrigation lines, things like that. This thing, it's durable. So if you run into rocks or anything like that, keep shoving. It'll push past it. Unless it's a big boulder, then you may want to move a little bit and take a listen. Also, I build the Sidekick, which is a pistol grip style with an aluminum rod. And that aluminum rod, it's a less dense metal, so it kind of eliminates the layer of concrete whenever you go inside that home and you're listening through a slab, or even outside listening through a driveway, guys. So I always suggest the complete kit. It comes with both tools. It also comes with a remote controlled outlet for your compressor so that you can be a one-man show doing leak detection. If you want to check out our equipment, you can visit leak-pro.com. But also, I offer a 2-day in-person training where you can come out. I teach you how to locate lines. I've got 11 leaks under a slab to learn how to pinpoint locate leaks. I've got one outside of the slab so that you know what that sounds like too. But also, guys, I teach you exactly how to locate, isolate sewer branch lines from the double clean out outside of a home to determine exactly where a sewer system's leaking under your customer's home. If you want to check out the training, give me a call at 1-8888-LEAK-PRO and we can talk about it. And once again, if you want to check out the equipment, visit leak-pro.com.
Man, I tell you what, I love what we get to do. But, one of my favorite parts about doing this, Randy, is literally at the end of the second day when you go out there and you look at them, it's like, hey, did you learn anything? And they're like, oh my gosh. They're like, look, I had no idea that I could do this.
Mhm.
And then when you look, and me and you are good about showing them how close they are to the actual spot, and when they're within 6 inches, a foot, something like that, it blows their mind. And you're literally like, you pull a tape measure out and you go in, and that's what we ought to do. We ought to get some gold coins made for you. You've got the blue ones, you've got the red ones, and then have a gold one where you put it right where it is and say that's how close you are.
Yeah.
And something like that, or maybe a big blue one with a star on it or something. But I love to see the attitude completely change, because they walk in and they're like, look, man, I don't think I can do this. And they walk out and they're like, man, I got this. This is good. So let's roll over into MEP, flexible ducting and pipe routing for retrofits. To me, a big thing, and I've always wondered this, because I'm a plumber. I look at things a little bit different. But when I started doing HVAC, and I never did installs in new houses or anything at all like that, but I always wondered, why don't we have air conditioning duct ran in PVC pipe under the slab like plumbing? I mean, a lot of these ducts that supply a room are 4-inch duct. Have and think about this: heat rises. You could run heat through the floor where it comes up in a room. That way it comes in low and it's slowly going to go up. And you could have air conditioning come from above. Again, PVC pipe where you can literally reduce down, build transitions, do everything you do. Anyway, that's a thought I had a long time ago. I'm sure somebody in here that's in HVAC is going to tell me how stupid I am. Wouldn't be the first time. But go ahead. Let's talk about your retrofits in older buildings, because they require smart routing to accommodate existing structures. You've got limited space, modern codes, changes have to be made. And a lot of times, Randy, when you retrofit these buildings, there's still people working in these buildings.
Well, that's it. And you can't shut down systems. So there's a lot of things that, guess what? You just don't get to move out of your way. So we've got to pass through some weird passageways sometimes, some tight spaces, things like that. And like used to, this wasn't a super feasible thing. But with the advancements of technologies and equipment and materials, I think this is starting to actually become more of an ideal thing for a lot of different situations. Um, like flexible duct systems. This is ideal for navigating tight attic or crawl spaces. Think about that one at the very back of our outhouse. That ceiling is so tight, but a flexible duct fits right in. And it's especially helpful in residential retrofits or urban remodels. PEX and multi-layer pipe offers easier routing than copper or rigid PVC, especially around corners and obstructions. And you were talking about the PVC for the ducting underground. I'm not too sure about that, because if you've got a heater running nonstop, what's that going to end up doing to that PVC over time? Because if it has a lot of heat on it too long, it's going to end up starting to affect it some, I'm pretty sure. But it is a good idea. It's a good idea. I think we'd have to come up with some uh, different material for that, though. But also cable
Well,
tray systems. Go
I
ahead.
think it's still worth looking at.
I do. I do. Uh, but for commercial electric runs, flexibility tray systems allow faster install with future accessibility for upgrades. A lot of times we see this hard cable tray, and then it's a forced bend for this offset to get up here. But I've seen some of these that they just flex and they move so that you can actually kind of work it through some things if you need to, so that they can pull all the data cables, the wires through there, all the cables. Um, some of the benefits here: less
Mhm.
demo. There's more flexibility, means fewer walls and ceilings torn apart. Uh, flexible items are a whole lot easier to get out of the ceiling than a rigid piece of pipe or something like that. It's also going to create faster installs, which we've seen. I'm going to end up pulling up some videos for us before too long, to where this kind of started becoming a thing. When they build these modular buildings and bring them together, they'd use flexible connections a lot. for that fast install. Also, easier inspections. Routing cleanly with visibility helps pass code and it reduces callbacks. Whenever it's flexible, it's a little easier to deal with. I don't like it because it's trying to take away from all the pipe fitting side. But hey, we can move on to other things, I suppose. And it's not going to replace big pipe, so I'm still good.
Yeah, that part makes you really, really happy.
That's right.
Let's roll in. Where's the work and major university campus expansions? And I don't see UT on here. I see that other little bitty Texas school. But, when I went and had dinner with Cody Frank a couple of weeks ago, he was talking to the company that he works at. They do a lot of work at UT. So I love seeing stuff like this. But before we roll in this, I want a couple of great comments here. Says, good morning from Southern Cal. Web nerd here, absorbing your knowledge. So Zucchini, I love that. I will be in Southern Cal probably about 9 hours from now, headed down to San Diego or over to San Diego.
Yeah.
Can't pay attention. Says, what do you tell a customer when you're a service tech and you have to leave to go to the bathroom? Tell them you need to run, pick up a part. I mean, it's not very hard to do. And that they will definitely appreciate it. So, now let's get back into this because you and I both have done retrofits. We've worked on a lot of big schools. I've worked on UTD. I've worked on the University of Dallas, I believe. I did a little bit out at SMU. So I've got to do some fun stuff that I love. You've done a lot more too, and you've done a lot of the bigger pop on them. This can be a lot of work.
Tons of work. And I love going out to the campuses and working. It was one of my other favorite places to be because college campus, it's always on the move. There's always stuff going. We were typically in there during summer, so there wasn't a lot of students. There were some there, but not many. I've worked in a lot of science buildings, so old. Going through some of these chases and stuff, you get to see some really neat things. I got to hold a dinosaur bone. You don't get to do that on normal jobs, guys. At campuses, you get to do some cool things occasionally. But like I worked at TCU multiple summers doing remodels and things like that. Did some brand new builds for UTD. Did some HVAC unit change outs and stuff at some of the community colleges in our area also. But like you were saying, that little school in Texas A&M, they've got 500 million plus in lab, student housing, and transportation infrastructure underway right now.
That's crazy.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is.
So that's putting a lot of tradespeople and keeping them busy, guys, and working on a college campus. Almost every major campus, even a lot of the community college, are so beautiful. And we don't always get to work in beautiful areas and spaces. So
no, sometimes we don't. And I like this. You've got Ohio State there, $180 million in the health science and the bioengineering facility breaking ground this summer. So, God, here in the next month or two. The University of Arizona, and I'll say campus-wide net zero retrofitting project. And we talked about net zero the other day.
Yes.
Guys, when you look at the possibilities and what you can do, and when we're looking at building the event center out at the outhouse, we're looking at, is there any way involved to where we can do something good there? Because if we could build a net zero entertainment center, how cool would that be?
Amazing. And guys, just in case you don't know, a net zero, it doesn't cost anything to power or energize that building in any way. Freaking amazing in my eyes. Like, I think off grid stuff it's just so cool. I'm a little hippie kind of, but I like nature. I like our planet, and it's like, what can we do more to take care of it ourselves and maintain our space?
And when you look at the work opportunities here, you're talking dorm construction, and you're talking science and lab buildings, clean rooms, stadium and rec center expansions, campus energy and water infrastructure upgrades, which, guys, that is all trades right there. I mean, that's a lot of work. So the different trades needed: HVAC and boilers, commercial electricians, fire protection installers, data and low voltage crews, general framing and concrete crews. So most of your trades are right there.
That's
And
it.
I noticed you didn't put plumbing in there, but plumbers are the most important. Randy loves leaving plumbers off of lists. I'm just saying, I think he does it on accident.
Hey, I might be a little crappy to him. I'm not sure, you know.
See, that ain't even right. Hey, plumbing paid for your growth. So you
Well,
remember that, young
I
man.
was going to say, like a lot of the TCU jobs that I was working on, I was on out there doing plumbing for some of those, not just pipe fitting world, uh, because my whole family was plumbers and everybody knew how good I was at what I did, and I knew plumbing just as well as I did pipe fitting. So I went in there and did a lot of bathrooms. Uh, we were talking about dorms. We'd go in there and do a bunch of dorm remodels and stuff. I'd go work weekends down there with a different crew for a different boss, but it was all our company. So
Mhm.
there's a lot of opportunities whenever you do get out to some of these college campuses.
Opportunities are what it's all about. And here's what's good about it. And I've always been that person. If they're like, "Hey, we've got a job over here," like the fiberglass pipe for the RO system out at Northrop Grumman, I'm literally like, they're like, "Hey, look, we got a project over here. We're looking for some people to run. Does anybody know anything about fiberglass pipe or RO systems?" I'm like, "No, but I can learn." They're like, "Okay, come on." That's all it takes. Hey, I'm willing to learn to do something different. And they're like, "Okay, let's go."
I,
Guys,
I,
have that attitude.
I was going to say, I remember being out at Great Wolf Lodge whenever, as a pipe fitter, I thought this was awesome. We cut into this 18-inch PVC line, stabbed in a 4-inch, and we had the slide guys come over and fiberglass the whole thing in. And it was like, we like made our own saddle out of plastic and fiberglass. This is pretty cool. It's like pipe fitting 101, guys, but it's just not metal and welding. Okay, I like this.
Mhm. No, I completely get it. So let's roll over into instructor training because this is something, and I love that Texas has continuing education for the plumbers. And the reason being, and a lot of plumbers hate it, but it's like, guys, look, there's changes each and every year. And I get it. A lot of it gets to be redundant. You start hearing some of the same stuff over and over. A lot of the people that write the sections or chapters in the book, they do the same thing over and over and over. It gets to be where all the chapters sound the same. So I love that. I love that Texas has continuing education, but really that's what it's about: the changes in codes and standards. So with evolving energy codes, safety requirements, and product tech, instructors must teach more than just how to do the work. They must also train for why the rules have changed. Now, in Texas, I love the fact that we would actually, if you were an instructor, you literally went down to Austin and sat with Lisa Hill, Frank Denton. You had board members there. You had Lisa, the executive director. You had Steve, the violations director, the enforcement person. And I love that you actually got to spend time with them and talk to them and ask them questions. And they went through and taught you the sections of the book about the plumbing license laws and the board rules and any changes there. And they always updated you on the current numbers. So we knew how many people got in trouble every year. We knew how many people were passing the apprentice, the journeyman test, the tradesman test, the journeyman test, the master med gas exam. I mean, they broke down everything and you could see that. And I love that because being an instructor, you want to be able to tell the people in the class, "Hey guys, look, 80% of the people are passing this test. Go get the endorsement. Just take the certification and go get it." So I love that. But different strategies for teaching. And I love that you've got some of these down, but like code comparison worksheets. Now, most people that teach code just tell you what the new code is. I'd rather do the comparison. Help students learn by comparing the past code and current versions on plumbing, electrical, and mechanical. Greatness. Vendor support training. You can have manufacturers that come in and offer training modules for mini splits, tankless water heaters. Tankless is big because tankless, man, they'll help you break it down, put it back together, and they do it every day. So you've got somebody that's like, oh, wow, I forgot this. It's like, well, yeah, this part here should have gone in over here and done this. Okay. And then field scenarios. Present students with real plan sets and mock inspections to reinforce inspection readiness. There's a million things that we could be learning and growing on each and every day. And most people don't do it.
That's it. And a big thing, if you are an instructor out there, please teach your students to go and check for updates. Okay. Because, like, I think back to whenever I was in the union, let's say, we didn't go to the union meetings because we had school. School's more important, guys. Well, guess what y'all did? Y'all taught me the habit of there's more important things than going to that meeting. Don't teach them bad habits. Let's teach them to check for updates in the code on a normal basis. If you will teach the new people coming in that habit and create it for them as you are instructing and teaching, and you just randomly, hey, let's check the code site real quick and see if anything's updated, that will go a long way and it'll benefit them so much. And it'll help our trades because it'll keep everybody current and up to date with the codes.
Yeah, I love it. All right, so let's roll into specialty. And man, this is a different one that you picked today, but I really do like it. And the reason being is stormwater management is a big deal. And in new construction, it's a really big deal because if you don't do it right, you can overweight the roof of a building and cause big problems. And I remember going to do Fidelity Investments over in Westlake, Southlake. And I get up on the job one day and I'm looking at the prints and we're going to start running it. And I go back into the office because I've got guys out there getting started. And I talked to the project manager and said, hey man, we got a problem. We can't run this. He said, what do you mean? And they showed the storm drain and overflow drain coming down together, going across wine, tying into each other and going down.
Yep.
And I'm like, well, this isn't how you do this. And this is how we're doing it because that's what's on the print. I said, no, we're not. I'm not going to install anything. It's not right by code. He says, you're going to install it like it's drawn on that print. I don't remember what I told him, but it was something like stick a finger up your nose or something. And he was pissy about it. I'm like, you know what? You do whatever you got to do. We're going to do this right. I said, but you need to get change order because there's more money involved here. And again, he's getting all pissy. I'm like, we're going to go back down. We're going to run the storm drains, but you better check those overflow drains because this is not right. The next morning, I'm in the office. He said, hey, I want to let you know something. He said, number one, don't you ever argue with me. But I talked to the other project manager for the general contractor, and we're going to do the overflow drains different than they are on the drawings. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And he said, but they've got to draw it up. I said, look, it's not hard to do. It's going to have to go down right here. It's going to have to go out this column. It's going to have to do this. Sure enough. I mean, when you're in the field, you can make educated decisions because you're looking at the problem and the solution. So anyway, I just do things right, but stormwater management in new construction, it has so much to do, and a smart contractor like Brent that can recapture it and turn that into rainwater harvesting, it becomes magic. So tell me what all you got here.
Like this is happening a lot in neighborhoods and even in our area, behind our property, the new neighborhood they're building.
Mm-hmm.
They're coming up, they're adding different components to stormwater management. You've got your catch basins and your drainage trenches and things, kind of typical and standard. But there's also bioswales and retention ponds. they're putting in some amazing retention ponds in our areas for all this stormwater to go to. And it's giving back to the environment. It's making the area a little prettier because they'll normally throw a water feature out there in that retention pond to
Make
keep
it
the
look
water
pretty.
moving. And it's a cool thing. Also, some permeable paving, rain gardens. I think it's pretty neat, just some of the different things that we're thinking of now and adding in to stormwater management. Uh, this is going to affect a lot of civil contractors, landscape designers, concrete and site prep workers, and plumbers. Like I don't want to leave y'all out of everything.
There you go, Matt. He heard us.
But like this all this goes in before neighborhoods, before everything. You get to go to an open field and kind of do this work, which is pretty cool on the start end. And then
Mhm.
as they keep going, you can start doing it in the homes themselves and actually do a lot of stormwater management there. And I've been in some pretty big freaking storm drains, and I've seen them blow out too. And man, sometimes it is difficult to get it to hold.
Mm. Okay, the storm drains you put in, what type pipe was it? What type connections were it? Do you remember?
So it was cast iron, actually. It was 10 or 12 inch. I was actually working with Lynn Speak at the time. I think we were doing the testing, and they transitioned to a PVC for the cow tongue going out. And we tried to get the test ball right there, but they had the riser so close to the wall that you couldn't, it kept blowing. And I added some extra supports, extra bracing and things to hold everything. And this was something that started adding into more jobs later. All the little bands, the extra bands that hold everything together for things like this. But we just locked it in tight and we were able to get our test off because it just kept blowing right there where it stubbed out of the building for that overflow.
That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Okay, let's and stormwater is good because it is something that plumbers do. Plumbers run the most of it when it comes to the commercial buildings, but then it's utility contractors when it's to the neighborhoods, the cities, the parks, things like that. But it's something that's big on every project we're doing. It's something that's got to be looked at. So we're going to roll over into social media spotlight now. And you've got the Plumber's Plunger on TikTok. The Plumber's Plunger brings educational value with a ton of humor, breaking down real plumbing issues, installs, and showing the gritty reality of the job. So what makes him different? And the thing is, authentic personality, no sugarcoating, just real job site talk with humor and honesty, which is greatness. DIY debunking, and we do some of that. Takes on viral plumbing hacks and breaks down what actually does work. And showcases good craftsmanship from vent stacks to water heater installs. Often zoom in on one technique and show the quality of the work.
Yeah.
So this is all good, but what videos have you found that you really like that you or things that you've seen him do?
Found some stuff like This Weekend Plumbing fails. We enjoy doing a lot of fails. I think
Absolutely.
you sent me a video last night that we're going to be dealing with soon. Also, like, why did they do it like that? This is one of my favorites. Like, even like when we come stay at Airbnbs and stuff, I see all just the little flaws, like the tile that cracked when they hung the hinge for the shower. It's like, man, all right, what
Do
the
it right.
best tile guy? Because
Yes.
it's cracked there, it's cracked at this hinge, it's cracked over here. He needed a better bit, needed to learn a little better. Hopefully they'll look it up on YouTube. Would you fix or replace this?
Now that's a
one of
good
my
one.
favorites. Like, that's it. Like for you, especially like, and that's one of my favorites is like, look, what should I do here? I would replace it. Should we rebuild it though? Like, what's your thoughts? And to get somebody with experience to kind of just give you their insights on that, it'll help a long ways so that you kind of know what you're looking at whenever you step into those sticky situations.
And what I love about this, especially the one, would you fix it or replace it? A lot of people walk into people's houses, and if their water heater is not working, they say, hey, look, we need to replace it. And it's like, you know what? If it's not leaking, it can be fixed. Now, you've got to know the right questions to ask. Like, is your family growing? Do y'all have enough hot water? Do you have kids that are fixing to be teenagers? There's certain things to ask that may be, hey, it might just be smarter to go ahead and upgrade this to a new water heater. It's going to be more efficient. It's going to save you money. And Randy, I always, whenever I'm asking people these questions, whenever I'm talking to them about repairing it, I'll go ahead and put together a price and say, look, if we repaired this, it'd be $600. If you bought a new one, it'd be $2,500. Would you rather spend $600 to wait a year or two, or would you rather go ahead and invest the $600 into
a
water
new one.
heater right here? So yeah, always.
It is. And like what you just said there, it is so great to give your customers options. If you are in the service industry, options are a great thing, but don't drag out all the options either. Don't slow down. Oh, wait, hold on. There's more to tell you. Oh, there's more to tell you. Somebody asks you what the options are. Tell them the options. Here's the 3 things I've got. Here's why I would suggest this one for whatever reason, and explain to them. Make sure that you're communicating with that customer, and that'll go a long way.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's jump into the comments real quick. I like this. Matt says, yeah, he leaves out plumbers to give you a hard time. Oh, Matt, I know why he does it. Jason Smith had him in here last week, says, I've never done commercial service in my life, and I start Monday. Good for you.
Awesome.
And look, I love that, because you said that you had done residential service. This is going to show you a little bit different side of it. I talk to people when they're first getting in the trades, when they ask me which way to go and what to do. I literally tell them, look, if you can start out in construction, either residential or commercial, doesn't matter to me, preferably whatever field you think you'd rather end up in, you can learn a lot of good stuff. But anytime you can change and go from either service to construction, construction to service, commercial to residential, residential to commercial, in any of those, it can be really, really good for you. So go in with an open mind, willing to learn. It can be amazing. And Jason Smith is putting my journeyman license to good use. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And yeah, Matt heard you. Yeah, I get it. Matt McDonough says, I'm going to make the great escape. Good to see you, gentlemen. Looking forward to it again. Matt, thank you so much. Randy will be in Vegas tonight. I will literally hit Vegas just long enough to go get on a plane and get out of there. But we love going to Vegas. So we tend to spend a lot of time there here lately too.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. Randy, take a minute and tell everybody about Leak Pro.
I'm Henry Wakefield, CEO of Leak Pro, the builder of Leak Pro, the trainer at Leak Pro. We do want to thank Leak Pro for sponsoring today's episode of the Trade Talks. They let us come in here and be able to talk trades for an hour with y'all, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Central, 11 Eastern, 9 a.m. Mountain Time, and 8 a.m. Pacific. So, we cover it all, but Leak Pro does manufacture the most precise leak detection system for professional plumbers. We build 2 different pieces of equipment. I've got the probe for outdoor, and then the sidekick for indoor when you're listening through slabs, because it's got an aluminum rod that kind of eliminates the layer of concrete. I always suggest the complete kit because it comes with a remote controlled outlets. You can be a one-man operation and actually go in and find leaks on your own. Also, if you don't know anything about leak detection and you want to learn how to add this to your list of services, you can come out and get trained. I do a 2-day in-person training. I teach you how to locate the lines under a slab. I've got 11 leaks under a slab to go through and learn how to do that. I've got an extra thick slab, so they're extra hard to hear to get you trained up where when you step into a house, it's super simple. I also have 1 leak outside of the slab itself. But also, guys, I've got 2 sewer systems. I've got a cast iron and a PVC system set up where you learn how to go to that double clean out outside of the house and isolate branch lines under the home to determine exactly which sewer line's leaking under a house. And If you want to find out anything about that, you can visit www.leak-pro.com. Book me for a call on there. Or if you want, just give me a call on the phone at 1-8888-LEAK-PRO, and we can discuss the equipment or the training.
This has been fun today. We've talked about some good stuff. I love this. This is Friday, so we will not be here tomorrow and Sunday. Monday, I will be at Social Media Marketing World in San Diego. So I'm looking at 8 o'clock there, and I think everything starts at 9. So that may work out really, really good. But guys, look, keep learning, keep growing, keep making yourself better, keep improving yourself. And whatever you do out there today, do it safely. Thank y'all.
Guys, happy Friday. I hope y'all enjoy your weekend. Don't forget, you still have an afternoon to work, so stay focused. But guys, get out there, hit it effing hard, and I hope to see you back here Monday. Have a great weekend. Bye, y'all.
Thanks, guys.